Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to take our mockups and actually start building the website in WordPress. Are you ready? Let's go! So today's going to be a lot of fun because I finally get to go on the web, set up WordPress, get my pages going, set up some structure. We're going to do it using the WordPress Content Management System, or CMS, along with the Elementor Pro page builder. But before we get into that, I know you're probably wondering,
the hell are you supposed to be?
Well, my name is Mark Moran, and I have been a web designer for over 20 years, and I teach web design at the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. And Akamai Websites is where I help new and aspiring web designers level up their professional and freelancing game with tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this one. Recently, I started adding new videos to the channel where I answer one-off questions or do a design challenge or kind of small things like that. So if you're interested in getting my perspective on something or seeing me attempt to build something in Elementor or some other application, let me know. I'd love to try it out. Just leave your suggestion in the comments below. So last week, when I was working on this beta launch for the Akamai Websites website, I worked on the high fidelity mockups, and if you missed that, don't forget to click on the card right there so you can check out all that goodness. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So this time we're going to take those mockups, so we're going to take the site structure and the page structure and bring that into WordPress on the web and build out the core of the website. You can think of this as building an interactive wireframe prototype of the website. So here's my general approach. I take the wireframes or the mockups that I've done before and figure out what the different containers and columns and sections of content that I'll need on that page is. Then I'll set up WordPress. Oftentimes I'll do that locally on my machine, but for this kind of quick website, we're going to do that on the server. Then I'll create the global or template items that I'll need, things like headers and footers that are across the entire site. Then I'll build in the page-specific structure that I need for each page of the website. And then I build all that out in Elementor in WordPress. The styling of the pages or building a design system within Elementor Pro is going to be in the next video. So don't forget to subscribe so you can check that out when it comes out next week. All right, so let's look at the computer right now and kind of check out the mockups that I did last week and see how we're going to divide things up on the page. So here we are, and right away I can see on these pages that there's a few common elements that I can template out. First though, on the home page I have this navigation and header area, but I think what I'll probably do is just combine the entire area up here as sort of an element just for the home page. In fact, for the home page, I don't think anything except the footer will be a template item because it's all things that will only be seen on the home page. On the About and Resources page, we have the exact same navigation area up at the top here, but we also have this header area with information on the page and a little excerpt. So I think I'm going to create a global element or a template that includes all of that information and draws dynamically from the database for the page name as well as the excerpt for the page. Of course, we have menu items across the top as well as social media and the logo there. And the footer looks to be the same across all the pages. It's sort of a two-column layout with copyright information on one side, some social links on the other. And probably in future iterations of the website, I'll really build out the footer a lot more. But since this is a beta launch, I'm not too worried about that. I'm just going to make this quick and dirty. Well, not dirty, but you know, like quick and easy. Not easy, quick. And if we look in a little more detail on the pages themselves, how are these organized? So I like to use an approach that Adam from WP Crafter came up with, which is to think of it in terms of 3 C's: the container, the columns, and the content. So with page builders, that's a really easy way to think of content on a page. We have a main section or container for information. We have columns within that container, and then we have content within those columns. The content tends to go from top to bottom, the columns are left to right, and containers tend to be top to bottom as well. Looking at the next section, we have one container, all the white area. We have 2 columns of content, and within this left column we have 4 items of content. We have a title, we have text, we have a button, and we have a link. And on the right we have 1 piece of content, which is a video. Down below, this could be a little confusing because you see the image, but the image is just in the background. So really we just have 2 columns again. The left just has the title and text, and the right has a form. And then on the bottom again we have 2-column layout, text on the left, some images on the right. Now let's look at the About page. Again here, it's mostly 2-column layouts. we have the 2-column in the header, we have the 1-column in this title area. Then we have 2-column layouts down below. On the left column we have a text with a divider line, we have an image with a caption. On the right we just have a text block. And in the next section it's the same thing but just switched from left to right. Below that is another container with a single column where we have a title and we have this FAQ section. It's an accordion that I'll use from one of Elementor's elements. And then of course down below we have a 2-column layout with a form on the left and a title and text on the right. Going over to the structure page, we have the same header area on the top. And below that we have a couple things. First, we have a single container at the top here with a software title, line, and some text. And below that, we have all of these sort of layout items. Now, if I was going to really build this out, I might make custom post types for each type of software or services or courses that I want to highlight, and then I can just populate those and bring them in dynamically. And that might be something I do in a future video. If you're interested in that, just let me know in the comments and I can be sure to include that in a future video. But for now, because this is pretty simple, I'm just going to look at this as a simple 2-column layout. Now you might be thinking, well, this is a big container here. So you're saying that at the top of this container, you're having 1 column and down below you're going to have 2. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Elementor has something called an intersection element, where you can bring in additional columns within a single column. It's a way of adding this sort of layout where you have a single column on the top and you have multiple columns right below it within the same general container. So in these sort of sub-containers, we have 2 columns, one with an image on the left and one with a title, text, and a button on the right. And then each of these containers will just repeat one after the other. So we'll have 3 containers going down in this one large column that's in this one really big container. And we're going to duplicate that for the next section for services as well as the final one for courses. Then of course we have the footer at the bottom. Right, so we know how to break up our pages and it makes sense as far as the containers, the columns, and the content goes. Now let's go in and set up WordPress so that we can build all this. So here we are in the WordPress dashboard, and I did go through and make a few adjustments to the site already, and I'm going to share those with you now. In case you're curious, I'm using SiteGround to host this website. I'll be sure to link to SiteGround in the description below this video. I think it'll probably be an affiliate link, so if you want to help out the channel that way with no additional cost to you and sign up for their service, be sure to do that. No pressure either way. You can use whatever host you want and set up WordPress however you like. So the first thing I want to do is look at the settings. Let's go to General and see what I've set up here. We have a site title and a tagline. I made sure to set up SSL on this website and force HTTPS. And I set the time zone for Honolulu, which is where I live. For reading, I did set up a home page which just has no content right now, and I set that up as a static page. I don't plan on having any discussion elements, but I did make it so that any comment must be manually approved. And now they have a privacy section here too, which I linked to the privacy policy that came default installed with WordPress. As for plugins, I only added 2. I added Elementor and I added Elementor Pro. This SG Optimizer is SiteGround's performance optimization plugin. They installed that by default, but I turned it off for now. If we look at the templates, I did create a coming soon page template. Within themes, I got rid of all of the default themes except for 2020, and I added the Hello Elementor theme since it plays really well with Elementor. I didn't do any customizations. For the menus, I did set up the menus for the 3 pages that I've set up here. And finally, within Elementor, I did go to Tools and I set up Maintenance Mode, and I selected my Coming Soon page. For Coming Soon, I just set up a really quick using one of the default Elementor templates. If I go into templates, you can see I set up a Coming Soon page, and we can take a look at it here. Just a picture of a cat, some text, invitation to check out YouTube, and then a see you soon with a dog below. Again, I just adjusted a pre-existing Elementor template, so I didn't do any design work on this. I just brought it in and changed the text on it. Now normally, if I was doing this on local development on my machine and not on the web, I wouldn't worry about a Coming Soon page. But I put that up because some people may still be going to akamaiwebsites.com, and I want them to have something to see. But if I was working locally, I wouldn't worry about that. I would just go straight into the build. So now we see how I've set up WordPress. Let's look at the pages themselves. So here we have the pages that I've built out already. I've created an About page, a blog page, a home page, and a resources page. I'm not going to have a blog to start with on this site, but I like to have one there just as a backup. The privacy policy page was already built in by WordPress. I didn't have to do anything there. And I just set home as the default. Now if we look at this page and edit it, you'll see there's absolutely nothing on it. I just put the title and I published it, and that's it. So we have our pages set up. The next thing I'm going to do is go into Elementor, and this is an Elementor Pro feature. I'm going to set up templates for the headers and the footer. So we'll go to templates, we'll go to theme builder, and I'm going to create a header. So let's go to header and add new header. I'm going to call this one global header, because this is really going across every subpage except the home page. Create template. It opens Elementor. Now it gives me this option to select a block, or to go to some pages, or use my own templates, which I don't have except for the coming soon. But I'm just going to click out of all these and just go from a blank one. The first thing I'm going to do is add a new container. Then I'm going to add a 2-column section. Now if we look back at the mockup, we see that there's a logo on the left side, and there's a navigation menu bar here, and then there's some items on the far right. So technically this is a 3-column layout when we look at it this way. If that's the case, then I realize, oh, I put 2 columns here when it's really 3. What I would do is I would go into this column item, right click on it, and add new column. Of course these are all spaced out evenly, but we'll deal with that in a second. I'll go to the 9 button option here. This takes us to the Elementor elements, and I'm going to look for site logo. Now I don't really have the site logo set up yet. It's just going to be a placeholder image. I drag that in, and it gives me an image. I'm going to set the image size to thumbnail, left aligned, no caption for now, and we'll do the site URL as the custom link. For width, I'm going to put pixels and just put 100 for now. That's a good general size. I'm going to worry about the specifics a little later on. One thing I can do when I look at this mockup is realize that this section has white text on a dark background, so I can prepare for that now, even if I don't want to set up the specific colors. So I can go to the section 6-dot menu, go to style, and set a background color type, which is classic. And I can grab a color here, and I'll just do a black. Next, on the right side, we have the icons. So let's set those up. I'm going to go back to the 9 button menu, scroll down the page until I come to icon list right there. It's under general. I'm going to pull that in. And right now these are organized vertically, but I don't want that. I want them organized horizontally, so the layout's going to be inline. And I'm going to get rid of the text as well. I don't need that. And for icon, let's pick the icon for Facebook first. Insert that. And for now, I'll just put, I have a quick link for this. Facebook, that will work. And I want to open it in a new window. I'm going to delete the other 2, and I'm going to duplicate this one once, twice, 3 times, and 4. So we have here Facebook. I'm going to put in Instagram. Whoops. I'm going to put in Twitter. And of course, needless to mention, if you want to follow me on any of these social networks, please feel free to do so. And of course, YouTube. And I'm making these all square, so they're all about the same size. They all have the same link, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll set up the links later. For style, I think space between is a little tighter than that, so let's do that. We'll do a 5 space between. We'll do alignment on the right, no divider, and the icon color, let's change that to white for now. It's just going to be a grayscale black and white website. And the size, I think I'll put the size at 18. You'll notice there's a lot of space here, so I'm going to bring this over a bit, maybe about 15%. And then I'm going to bring this over to about the halfway mark. The next thing we have is the navigation, just 3 items. So let's go back to the 9-dot menu. We'll go to nav menu, and we'll pull that in. under menu, primary is perfect. That's the one I set up. And here we have the menu. It has a bunch of styling options. I don't really care about that. I do want to make sure it's right aligned though, just so it matches a bit better. So we have those there. And I don't want to worry about styling right now. I'm going to take care of all the styling later on. The next thing we have for all the pages is this sort of sub area here with the title and the text. So I'm going to add another section. This one I'm going to make a single column layout. And this section has a title and some text. If we look at the 9-button menu, we see here there's a few options we could use. So I'm going to use page title for the next section. I'm going to center align it and keep it at an H1. For this section, I noticed that it's a kind of a blue with light text, so I'm going to maintain that. I'm going to create a style for this color here. That's not a pure black, but it's not a light either. So it's like a medium gray. Because I might use this color again, I'm going to add it to the global colors and just do temp gray and create that. That way, if I need to use this color again, I have it right there as an option. This text, I'm going to make it white. And since I use that color a lot, I'm also going to add this to the global colors. White. Now you can see that color is right there. Next is some text. So I'm going to go in here, go down to the text editor option, drag that in. For style, I'm going to center align it, make the text color white. And that's pretty good for now. I think I would like to add a little bit of padding, even though that's a styling issue. So I'll go to advanced on that section. And for padding, I will unlink the attributes, and on the top, I'll give it a 20, and on the bottom, I'll give it a 20, just for a little bit of breathing room. The other thing you'll notice here is that these are way at the top. This is in the middle-ish, and then this is down kind of full out. So what I might do on this as well is go to the layout options, vertical align, and middle. And that will just line things up a little bit nicer. So there we have it. This is a really rough global header area that I can use across my subpages. I'm going to go to Publish, and it will give me the option to ask where I want to display my template. I'm going to add a condition. I'm going to say the entire site, but I'm also going to add a condition to exclude a singular page, which will be the front page. So it'll show up on every page of the site except the front page. I'll save and close that. And then I'm going to view the live site. If I go to About, it'll show up on the About page, which is what we want. If I go to Home, it will not show up on the home page. If I go back, you could see all this. Go to Resources, you can see the resources. Now, it does add the page title in here, and we'll deal with that in just a moment. The next thing I'm going to look at is the footer. So let's go over here to the footer and take a look. Again, single section, 2-column with information. So let's go into there. One thing I'm going to do is keep this Elementor area open because I might want to grab some of these elements here. And I'm going to go to the dashboard. I'm going to go to Templates and go to Theme Builder. I'm going to go to Footer. I'm going to add a footer. And this will just be Global Footer. Create the template. So again, I have options here, but I'm going to X out of all of that because I'm just going to create my own footer, which is down at the bottom here. Again, we're going to have a single container section, and we're going to have 2 columns within it. So let me add another column. And this whole section is dark, so I'm going to go to Style and color this. I don't have a dark black, so let me add black to the global colors. Let's call it temp. I'll just call it black. And then on the left, we have some copyright information. Let me go to the 9th section area, add in a text editor. And for this, I'll just copy what we have right here. All this text right there. I'll go in here and just paste it. So from here, I'm going to go to text, and I'm going to add in the ASCII symbol for the copyright symbol, which is ampersand copy semicolon, and then it gives you the little copyright symbol in the text there. I'm also going to make this white. And on the right side, I want those logos that I had before. So let me go back to the global header, And I can right click on this element and I can copy it, go to a different page's Elementor area, and then paste it. Really handy when you want to quickly duplicate different elements. And that's the footer. It's pretty much done. I'm going to publish, add the condition to include it across the entire site, including the home page. And now when I go to a page, let's take a look here, view the live site. You'll see it shows up on the bottom. If I go to About, there it is on the bottom of the page. Resources, it's on the bottom. In Home, it will be on the bottom too. Excellent. So that is great. We are most of the way there. We got the header and footer worked out for across the site. Now we're just going to go into each page and build them out. So let's go back to the dashboard and let's look at our pages. First one we're going to do is the home page. So let me go into here and edit. And I'm going to edit with Elementor. Now you'll notice here it brings in this title that we talked about before. The way to get rid of that is to go down to the settings area and under this section right here, just click hide title. And then it goes away. Click update. So from this point, I want to go back to my mockups and take a look at how I have this set up. I have a large area here, sort of a big hero header section. And the top has 2 columns and down here is 1. So let me set that up first as a 1-column layout. I'm going to add in a single section here. To make this work the way I want to with a single background image, I'm going to add this top section as an inner section. I go to the 9-dot menu, I click intersection, and I drag it over. Now, this is the same as the subpages, so I'm just going to drag the same content over. But first I'm going to change the background color so that it's darker. For this one I'm going to use the temp gray. I'm going to go to my global header and I'm going to grab this element here, copy that, back to home, paste that in here. Of course I have another column on the right. And then I'm going to grab the menu, copy, go over here, paste. And then I'll go here, copy, go over here, paste. Again, I'm going to set these up so that it's a 15% over there. And then drag this over to the halfway mark. Right there. And I also want to make sure that this is all vertically centered in the middle. Next, we have this text down below, and we have a lot of space up and down around it. One way to do that is to add a spacer. So I'm going to add that in and drag it into the bottom here, just like that. Then I'm going to go in here and add some heading text. I'm just going to grab this here. I'm going to duplicate that. Grab this text here, under level up. And then I'm going to grab this spacer, duplicate it, and drag it to the bottom. Now let me do it. It's on top. So there we have it. We have this section up here, and we have all of this down here. I'm going to increase the size on these to maybe 100 here and 100 here. The actual sizing will change quite a bit. This will keep as an H1. Actually, H2 is good. H2 is fine there, and the sizing and everything will be different. But just for readability, I'll make the color white. Okay, so we'll update that. Let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. So there's something you may have noticed on this website, and that is that the Akamai website's header up here, this site title area, isn't going away. If I go to an About page, it's not there. But for some reason on the home page, you see it every single time. How do we get rid of that? Well, it takes just a little bit of CSS, but it's not too much. And while this might not be the best way to do it, this is the easiest way at this point. So just to show you what I'm talking about, let me inspect this item with the Chrome Developer Tools here. And we can see that when we get up to the site header, that is what shows up and highlights the entire section. So there is a header class of site header, and that's what we're looking for. So we can see here this header class is named site-header. I'm going to go down to settings, go up to advanced, and then I'm going to add in my own custom CSS for this page here. So we know that it's called site-header. So I'm going to go .site-header and then do the brackets and go display none. And boom, it's gone. If I update that, take a look at the page, and you'll see that that's now gone. So now I don't have to worry about it showing up randomly on the site. Perfect. So let's go back and look at the home page again and what we're going to design. So the next section we have here is this 2-column section. So let me build that out. For a lot of these builds, I'm going to time-lapse the video so you don't have to listen to me talk the whole way through. But if anything interesting comes up, I'll let you know. Okay, so there we are. The homepage is basically done. The styling is horrible, obviously. That needs a lot of work, but we have the structure of content on the page, which is what I'm looking for. Let's go to the next page now. So now we're going to click on the About page, take a look at this, and it needs a lot of work. So let's go into Edit Page. And then the first thing we're going to do is go down here to Template, make sure it's full width, and then click Update, and then go to Edit with Elementor. So if we look at this design, first thing we're going to do is a 2-column layout. And again, I'm going to speed this one up for you, but if you have any questions, you can let me know in the comments below, and I'll stop if anything interesting comes up. One thing I'm going to do here really quickly is go to the site settings and go to the global colors. And I'm kind of tired of these as being the global color, so I'm going to set the black here. I'll set the secondary, I'll set the accent as just a dark gray, and primary also I'll set as black. And then let me look at the typography here. I'm going to set the text color as black, and all of these should take from that. Now you'll notice here it kind of messed up the header area, but I'll deal with that in just a moment. Let me update that. Back to the editor. And now I can go into Edit the Editor, click on Save. Then I'll go to this area here, click on Style. I'm going to change the text color to white. There we go. Let me go back to edit the page and continue on my merry way. Alright, so I did that section. Now I'm going to duplicate it into the next one. What I can do is take this column and drag it to the other side, and it will swap with that other column. Now I just have to change the text and the alignment. So there we are, we have the second section done. Now I'm going to work on the FAQ section. So I have some placeholder FAQ right here. Again, not styled very well. next we're going to go down to this final section with the form on the left and the text on the right. And there we go. Final section's done. If we scroll up, we can see the whole page is structurally sound. And now it's time to move on to the final page of this quick build. So here we are in the resources page. Let's take a look and see what this looks like. So again, this is that one that has a single column at the top, but then intersections down below. So let's work on that. We're going to set it up as a single column container first. I'm going to add in my text. Alright, so there we go. That page is done. Let me update it and take a look. Great, so we have the structure all worked out for all 3 pages. Everything looks like it's pretty smooth. No major issues. And the general functionality is all there. Of course, this is a pretty simple site, so there's not a lot to it. So there we go. We're done with the site structural build in WordPress and Elementor Pro. So let's sum up really quickly what we did. First, we set up the site and the site settings in WordPress. Since I'm on a server, I set up a coming soon page, but if you're developing locally, that's not necessary. I set up my pages, the home, about, and resource pages, as well as the coming soon page and a general blog post page. I set up my global templates for the header and footer. And finally, I built out the page structure in Elementor and Elementor Pro. And don't forget, I also used a little bit of CSS just to get rid of that weird site title that comes up on the homepage and the Hello Elementor theme. I don't know why that's there, it's there, and that's how I get rid of it, but I'm sure there's a better solution out there somewhere. So next time what we're going to do is set up a design system in Elementor, and you saw a little bit of that with the black and white stuff, but I'm going to go a little more in depth into that next time. I'm also going to start and finish the design integration from those mockups, taking those and making them in Elementor. I'm also going to make sure all the functionality works, the forms, MailChimp integration, and I'll prepare the site to launch, set up things for SEO, security, stability, and speed, and launch the site and make sure that it's working okay. So all of that is coming up. If you like that sort of stuff, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications, and smash that like button. Oh, no. He's not here today, so there's no one to talk to. And that brings us to the question of the week. What I want to know is, what is your favorite content management system or CSS? Do you like WordPress like I use? Do you use Joomla, which I've used in the past, or Drupal, which I've never used before? Maybe you're old school and you like PHPBB or Mambo, or, well, okay, Mambo doesn't really exist anymore, but, you know, holler if you remember Mambo. Or maybe you like one of those services like Wix or Weebly or Squarespace. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This is really exciting. It's almost done. I can't wait to finish this up. And I have a lot more ideas for video topics in the future. So that's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, if you have any questions or want to know anything, hit me up in the comments below. And until next time, stay Akamai.